Hi, good evening, everybody. Thank you for watching Basket Starfish, our language core. Again, I want to let you see the basket starfish so you know what kind of image I want you to have in your mind. That I think all languages are related. We actually share one common core instead of a root, because as long as you think of a root, then we will have hierarchy in this world. And I am showing you a woman's perspective because I don't believe that women had not been speaking for the last thousands of years. And this is the language core that I want you to look at. And as long as we look at it like a tree, we will never be on an equal ground. And there you go. Let's start tonight. And thank you very much for tuning in. Tonight I'm going to talk a little bit about the concept of A. Last week I talked a little bit about the writing of A and K, why they are picked to lead the cycle of writing system. But this week I am going to continue with that, but you will see that I will pay a little bit more attention in the form of A, the sound of A, as what role they play in our language system. Okay, I'm going to show the slide now. Okay. Yeah, it's a different viewpoint. I am going to use my ability in reading pictograph, because the ancient Chinese oracle bones were pictograph kind of, and then ideograph, and so I'm using the ability to read the Western alphabet. I hope to have to share an integrated view of language with you. And the development of A and K, and also shows you as a silent testimony of the domestication of animals and plants. Last week I actually showed some Chinese writing about the domestication, and I show you this pictograph showing you the ubiquitous form that you can see in Chinese. Whenever you see that form, it is kind of showing an action, an energy which is unseen or simply existence. As you can see, for example, this one, you can actually see that is a migration going on. And once again, I want to stress that the bull itself, as I said, is not necessarily the bovine family. It can be capra family, and it can be the deer family. So as long as these are horned animals, and as you can see, they can also use to express very abstract idea. Like this one becomes the symbol of longevity. As you can see, the Western both Trophidon line, as like the Egyptian writing, when they write from left to right and then right to left without disrupting, without cutting the line. So in ancient time, it seems that people already deeply believe that whatever they do in real life actually become part of the language and also affect their life as well. And as you can see, all this A sign right here actually this one actually means coming out. This one means going in. So as you can see, this initiation, if you turn it into English, you will imagine the word like emerge. A lot of the words showing action, the verb showing action, will begin with a vowel itself. So this is exactly how they deal with it. So this is, again, I'll show you the fascination of a horned animal since ancient time, and the ancients, since they have been observing all these animals for thousands of years, and then when civilization began, they actually have a tendency to want to transfer the strength of this animals to themselves. So as you can see, all these ancient gods in ancient Assyrian, ancient Sumerian, and ancient Hittite, which is the ancient Turkish area, and they were all wearing the bull's horn. And then this coin is showing Alexander the Great, and he's also wearing a pair of a horn, but then it's a ram's horn. And they actually believe that the strength of animal head can be transferred to an anthropod head. And as you can see, I highlighted this A and this A, and that's to show you that actually the Greek also put that as a ideograph. They mark it there to show people that what are they looking at, what are they reading. So again, I want to show you this picture quickly, which I showed last week already. This is a changing form of the leader. As you can see, there's a hieroglyph, the K, I take it as an example. We know that it means it read as car, and it is the head. Of course, you can see it's a physical head, but in the ancient Egyptian used it to mean soul and a living vigor. And if you go this way, it actually become the kappa in Greek, and if you go that way, it become the alpha in Greek. And you can see that how they manifest in language itself is that the kappa, if you just pay attention to this word kappa, it actually goes directly even to English, the cap. The cap is your head, right? The Greek will have this word kephali, which is the head, and the cephal prefix right here become English because the mutation, people begin to read the K as an S sound. Okay, so they are of the same root, kephali. And then also because it represents the soul and the living vigor, and it actually as time went by, they begin to show a lot of kinetic movement representation. And oops, sorry, I have to go back up again. And then when the alpha, and also you will see a lot of writing which start with A, like the arc, and then the auto, author, and also the anima, action, animated. All these begin with A because it was, as I said, used as an ideograph or determinator to tell the people what they are really talking about. And now I talk briefly about the concept of A. As a form, when you look at A, just don't simply take it as an A, as a form, as a bullhorn, as a bullhead, and alpha actually used to mark the position. As you can see in all these English words, the apex, the arc, the arrow, the arc, all these words, the A is actually used to mark as an arrow, as a form. And if you pay attention more, it also appeared itself, in a lot of God's name at the beginning, like An, the ancient Sumerian god, Elohim, the Greek god, the Hebrew god. I have to say, sometimes, when I go so far, sometimes I do have a little bit of mistake made in my speech, so I apologize for it. So this is Hebrew, Elohim god, and then Adam, Abraham, Arthur become the English, the British, legendary first king, and then the Alex, Anthropo, all these were actually from the bullhead image. And then as a bullhead, it also represents the unseen energy and the action. And of course, you will see all these things that which shouldn't be seen, but to mark them, you will see that air, ether, Agni, which is the fire itself, all this natural element which is marked by this A also. Also, of course, the auto, anima, alive. All these words alive, exist, all these vowels were actually there because it was set there in ancient time as R sound. Because if you are not alive, you cannot make that R sound, as simple as that. And the concept of A as sound, if you ignore the writing itself, if you keep saying R, I don't know whether, if you spend some time in churches to hear the chanting, especially the Orthodox Church, you will know that most of the time a song, whenever it elongates, you can only hear the vowel sound. It is not the consonant sound that you hear. So the ancient Greek word for song is actually Aid. So of course when you sing it's always E like that. So it is used to mark time. Because it's used to mark time, so you will notice that all the words about time is also carried, a vowel in front of it. And then as a concept, it's always used as a prefix to indicate a directional movement. And if you speak Spanish, French, whatever Latino languages, you will always be used R or L as a sound, as a concept to bring forth something, to mark the directional flow of something, moving towards something. And then even in English, this enter, emerge, arrest, initiate, all this are also marked by vowels, because the vowel itself is the initiation of the unseen energy. So again, last week I already showed this. Language is actually to show it will never develop on its own, without finding expression through its cultural practices. So a lot of the linguistic theory are very dry. They talk about the sound mutation. They talk about a lot of changes without even looking at the cultural expression itself. So I will show you quickly here again how the East and the West also share the same core. And this is a Sumerian pictograph of the Alp, which is the cow, and this is the Gu, which is the bull. And then when it goes this way, the A sound and letter follows the Proto-Sinaitic in the Egyptian Sinai area, and then it goes to the Phoenician Aleph, and then the Greek Alpha. And if you turn the alpha around, it becomes the bull head again. And I will show you, I will show you the Chinese. Chinese also have a writing like this, and then we have different forms of writing. To say the bull, we actually say ngao, ow. As you say alpha, aleph, all this, you hear the sound. And when you look at this, there is a Germanic word, Auroch, to show you the animal itself. Auroch is a long extinct bull, which is died a long time ago. Or the Aries, which I said, the Capra family. And if I go this way, you see the hieroglyph, the ka, the gu, and the ka and ga, the mutation between this, and the Phoenician and the Greek become the copper. And then you see the Chinese also have the same thing. But the writing, is only appeared here, but we actually preserve the sound gu, ga, gin, kin, and all this is about the power of the bull. And then this gu, sharing this gu, the same sound, is actually a ram itself. But I want you to look at this sign in Chinese writing itself, which you will see later. And if you look at this ga or ka, in English you will just think of the word cattle, or Capra, which is a goat family. And then I bring you to the Indic family, which Brahmi is writing that sets to be the mother language of all the Indian writings. The Brahmi, this is the A. Funny enough, the A actually looks the reverse K, right? So this is the Ka, but I'll show you more. Here are more signs from Sumerian. These three signs I want you to compare. These are all shows unseen energy. Actually, it also used to mean human being as well. And you look at this one. Look at this one. This is Sumerian. This is Chinese. And this is Sumerian. This is Brahmi. And this is Sumerian. This is Chinese. Look at this. We all share with each other all those symbols. And then, of course, this sign. can see like a reverse K in Greek, and then the Sumerian cow itself is still used as the A, one of the stylized writing in Greek as an A. And also, when you look at this, you look at it as a physical animal, but I said the ka in hieroglyph actually means the part of the soul. So actually a lot of these words is actually used also at the same time other than the real physical animal. It also means the soul. And if you look at the soul, as the Indian also said, the vowels are the soul of the language, because without the R sound, none of the consonant can make any sound, okay? So the Sanskrit word for soul is actually Atman. And the German word Atem is actually the breath itself. When you suck in the air, and that's a soul being. And that actually brings back to when you have a soul, when you're soul being, that means you're organic, living being, and then that's why you can play action itself. And then if we come this way, the car itself also is persists in the body itself. Of course, the Sanskrit car, other than the soul itself, exactly the same meaning. Car also has the meaning of the body, but in German, Körper is actually the body itself. Of course, if you speak Latin, it's corporal. Also, the corporal is also the body itself. So the K side also brings in the kinetic movement, because with the body you can actually move. That with the soul that moves your body, you take into real action. And that's the whole picture of the ancient, how they understand the physical and the spiritual world. And I'll bring you, because you were looking at a similar writing in the ancient time. This is the beginning and the end. I want you to see this as a rolling and the crossing representation. And this is the Haron. Haron is being transcribed into English like this. Who is Haron? Haron is a ferryman of hate, who actually rowed the dead across the river to the other side of the world, the death rim, okay? And this writing here is actually Christ. You see the mark itself. It's actually used as a marking. However you read it is another matter. But visually, it actually tells the people this is the end of the something represents the end. And of course, come to the reality itself. If you go to a Greek church or Russian church, you'll see this common icon when during Easter time, the resurrection of Jesus, when Jesus stands between the two rim right there, clearly marked by the cross to save Adam and Eve. And then that's how he symbolized the beginning of a new life. And he himself, Christ himself, actually means the last one, the last prophet. And I want you to compare this. In Greek, this is the Greek word Christ. This is the Greek word the best and the first. Can you see the rest of the words is actually exactly the same? The difference is just the beginning of the mark. A for the Greek, it marks the beginning, the first one. And the cross itself actually marks the end, the last one, the last prophet. So actually, symbol itself plays a lot, in the ancient time. People do not read words like what we read now. They read them as symbols. And of course, Phoenician use all this as the Tau right here. And what is Tau but the last and the end of the alphabet circle. And then the Chinese has this, and it's actually the first. And in Chinese, this is the last. And in Chinese, sometimes we use the head. And how do we say the head? We actually say Tao. Tao is the head, and actually Tao is the end. So you will see that the East and the West actually throw this across each other. Sometimes we use the same sound to mean exactly the opposite, because for the ancient, the end is the beginning is really the end. So you will see that we were actually very close to each other. Now I want to show you the Chinese interlocking system as the Mayan, and this is a very famous oracle bone, and this is a transcription of it. And I want you to see the first number in Chinese. Can you see that crossed as the Phoenician Tau? And now it's written like this. And now actually we pronounce it as Ga, okay? Which means head or first. But actually if you want, you can actually hear it as you hear in English. You can actually take it as the captain, the Ga and the captain. Actually it's the first, okay? And this writing right here is the last number in Chinese. Now it's written this way, but then this is read in Chinese as Gui or Kuai. It's actually, if you hear it carefully, I'm actually reading as I am reading like cross itself, Kuai, okay? And then it actually means the last and the end. And then in Sumerian, they have also the same symbol, and it become like this in cuneiform. It actually means the head and the first. Can you see how confusing they are? Actually, they were all using the same symbol. They just adopt a different reading to mean either the beginning or the end. And this is the Phoenician, and the reading become the end, the Tau. But basically, you see the first, the last, the last. So can you see how similar they are in one way? So you have to be very, very clear-headed to understand all these similarities. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. And as I said, you know, they use the bull to mean the leading animal. This is Sumerian, the gu. The Chinese have the same writing itself. The same sound, the ga, gu, means the powerful cattle itself. And then this is hieroglyph and ka. And this is Sanskrit, having the same sound, gu, gu, gava. They have exactly the same meaning, either a cattle and a cow. So you can see that Sumerian, Chinese, hieroglyph, Sanskrit, they all have the same sound representing the same meaning. So I want you to pay attention to this here, the key here. Actually, this little bull head here means the essence of growth. And now this is a Chinese, as I already showed you, the gap right here. You see the gi, gap, kappa, and they all mean the head. Kafali, as I said, is the head, and capt in Latin again is the cap. And then again the Brahmi. I will show you this two writing again. Can you see this and this and this and this? And they are all in the same area. We are just sharing the same writings in a different way. I am sure you will see that there's a lot of subtle communication between all this ancient culture. So it's impossible that everyone developed their own writing on their own. No, we communicated, we share information. This is very, very obvious right here. Okay, and even until this day in logic and in mathematics, you will still see this essence sign. If you look at it as an A, if you look at it as the essence or the gist or the gist, if you speak German, you will know this sign. If you're a mathematician, you will definitely know this sign. It actually means the universal quantifier. It is a constant. It always means given any or for all. Every single thing carries a little part which is true. So what is this other than the soul itself, if you understand it in the spiritual world? And the other thing is also a vowel, only the E actually reversed. And this is also used in logic and also in mathematics and as an existential quantifier. It is also a constant. It means something that exists or exists, always exist. So this is the possession of the essence of the gist. This is something embedded inside anything. And again, in the spiritual world, you will understand it as the soul. And I will bring this ancient Sumerian writing in again. Can you see this bullhead? This bullhead. Either you read Chinese or you read Sumerian or you read English, they are all the same. The alma itself, the soul. Also in quantum physics nowadays, you still follow the same way, either the K or the vowel A, E, I, O, U, okay? The kinetic energy or the potential energy, or the kinesis, which is motion or the action, or the electric that causes the motion, the atom, the ion, the electron. Can you see all these words that you use in quantum physics still follow the vowels itself? Or you use the K sound, the cation, and the onion. This is all the words for in the quantum physics field that you still follow. Or the kata, which goes down, or the ana, which goes up. So with this, you can go back to the Greek. The kineo is the kinetic movement, of course. All this Greek here, iso, aereo, imi. Excuse me, you're Greek, you will pronounce it better than I do, okay? So, but the important point that I want to show you is that it's led by all this vowel sound, and they all means motion and movement. Without all this intrinsic soul or the energy itself, nothing can move. You know, so I bring it to the Chinese symbol here too. We also have the similar pronunciation, either kin or quan or gan or kun. And can you see the similar reading right there? And in the world that we know, and the owl again means the bull market. I want to show you how mundane we can also use this word. When you are in the stock market, when you say the bull market, it actually means an upward trend of the movement. And the Chinese also is sharing the kinetic movement, the kinesis in Greek. We also have the kins word, the kin, and the kin actually means a male principle, also means upward movement, also means the robust in health. And if I show you this very, very known statue in New York, you'll see what the stock market is showing. So time is running out. I will finish this slide to show you the kinetic movement and the augmentation of the market itself. Okay, I will stop right here. Thank you very much for watching. Again, I will see you next week. Thanks. Bye.